Hello, my name is Jake Poole, and welcome to the demo video for a game I'm developing called Improvised Zombie Apocalypse Fighter, or IZAF for short. I'll give a quick overview of how I created the custom models, then I'll move on to gameplay mechanics, a full playthrough of the game, and an overview of the development cycle of the game's current state. Here are the timestamps for each section. My models, all created in Maya, go through relatively the same process. First, I find a reference image for the model. It might be an exact reference for pixel by pixel recreation, or a simple body type reference. I generally try to find at least the front and a side view. Then, after importing those reference images, I create a standard polygon object like a sphere, a cube, a cylinder, and align it to match up with a certain section of the model. I usually start with the most central piece, like in the case of a human body, the torso. From there, I shape the polygonal object and look more what I'm trying to model. I do this by moving, rotating, and scaling the different edges, vertices, and faces. And once I'm happy with the shape of that object, I move on to the next section, repeating that with the process over and over, and combining the different polygons as I finish the sections through the use of booleans, most notably the union function. Eventually, I'll have created a rough polygonal representation of the model, and after a bit of tweaking, I move on to the material, usually creating a UV map for it, and then designating the different faces to certain colors or patterns. The last two steps of me creating a model is rigging the model, or that is, if there is a rig in the first place. First, I make the general skeleton of sorts, and make sure all the joints are inside of the model. Then, using the weight painting tool, I go through each individual joint, making sure that the joints only affect the parts of the model that I want them to affect, and not the ones I don't. This step is really necessary to the rigging process, as Maya's automatic weighting doesn't really work very well. And yeah, that's a general overview of how I create models. IZAF's goal is fairly straightforward: to kill all the attacking zombies. The zombies will come at you in waves, with new zombies spawning every time your kill count reaches a certain amount. The zombies might be a bit slow, but they can overwhelm you with numbers, and there's nowhere on the map to hide from them. So, you, the player, have to fight them off with your trusty oversized pencil. But how do you even use that pencil? By hitting the attack button, you swing your pencil, dealing damage to any enemies who come into contact with it. But you don't have to swing it just once. With the pencil, you can swing up to 3 times by hitting the attack button twice more, creating a combo, with each swing dealing more damage than the last. However, you can only initiate the combo when there's a pause between swings. Trying to spam the attack button won't work, so make sure to time when you try to attack. Additionally, you can't move while you're attacking, so if you want to cancel out of a combo to reposition, you have to stop attacking. One last thing before the playthrough starts: killed zombies have a chance to drop health pickups. That chance is high when you're at low health, but the opposite is also true. Alright, that's more than enough explanation. Let's get into the playthrough. And there you have it. Before I end the video, let me talk a little bit about the development cycle of IZAF, specifically the difficulties and joys of it. Probably the two greatest difficulties I had were the time constraints and the combat system. Initially, I wanted to have 3 weapons that the player could switch between and 2 enemy types, but due to a lot of the initial groundwork that had to be laid, I had to cut it down to 1 of each. But that was simply my fault on poor planning, and these features will come in the next build of this game. The combat system itself was particularly difficult, as I had to sort through so many booleans to try to give the player enough freedom, but also restrict them enough so the game wasn't too easy. This also involved making sure the attack frames were timed correctly with the animations, which that had a lot of trial and error in it. However, despite the difficulties that arose from it, I'm really happy with how the combat turned out. It feels really fluid and impactful, and while the gameplay is really just a simple hack and slash when you get down to it, there is a certain amount of strategy that has to go into deciding when the right moment to attack or to combo is. And you have to maintain control over those hordes of zombies, otherwise they'll overwhelm you. I'm really enjoying how this simple yet complicated combat system turned out. Anyways, that's all the time I got for today. I hope you enjoyed this look at IZAF, and I hope you look forward to more in the future.